When I was a little kid, one of my favorite foods was cabbage rolls. I'm older now and those take a long time to make, so we're going to deconstruct it and make some cabbage roll bowls instead. We're going to start by washing 2 cups of white rice. I usually only wash my rice 2 or 3 times at most. Now we'll add in 1 cup of water and start that cooking. We'll set that aside while we prep the rest of our bowl. I still use my family's recipe for these cabbage rolls, but I changed the steps just a little bit. I'll usually take a large cabbage and chop that into slices. Now I lay the cabbage on the flat edge and chop that into a bite-sized piece. This is a recipe I make all the time at home because it's so easy to whip up after work. Plus I end up with several extra servings that I bring to work with me for lunch or use when I'm not feeling like cooking after work. When I make this, I usually use 1 pound of Midamar's 93.7 ground beef and 1 pound of Midamar's 80/20 ground beef, but you could reduce the fat and toss in 2 pounds of 93.7 instead. Break that up and cook until all the meat is browned. Usually I like to drain some of the fat. You could leave this in if you wanted to, but I tend to prefer the taste of the cabbage, the beef, and the tomato sauce all together. Once that's done, we'll add in 10 medium cloves of garlic diced. We'll give that a stir and cook it until the garlic is nice and fragrant. Toss in the chopped cabbage. And it was at this point that I realized my Dutch oven wasn't quite large enough for all this cabbage, so I decided to use only about a half of the cabbage and save the rest for a stir fry or something else later. I would recommend using as much cabbage as your pot will hold, but that's just my personal preference. Once the cabbage is wilted and softened a bit, we'll add in 2 29-ounce cans of tomato sauce and mix it up so everything is well combined. At this point, pretty much everything is cooked, we just need to get the tomato sauce warm and have it seasoned to our tastes. Hit it with some sea salt to taste, and if you're using uniodized sea salt like I am, you'll want to use about a teaspoon. Make sure to taste it throughout though so you don't over-season. Add some pepper if you'd like, then give it a mix and a taste. Once it's to your liking, put it over a bowl of rice and enjoy. Come back next week for another tasty halal recipe.